Separate the Philippine Marines from the Navy. That's what two lawmakers are proposing at the House of Representatives. This doesn't sit well with the country's defense chief. Our senior correspondent David Santos tells us why in this report.
House Bill 73046 to establish the Philippine Marine Corps as an independent entity of the armed forces. Since its creation in 1950, it has been under the command of the Philippine Navy, one of the three main branches of service of the AFP. The two others are the Army and the Air Force. The bill's authors, Congress's most ranking leaders, House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez and Deputy Speaker Rodolfo Fariñas, are Marine reservists. They are pushing for the Marine Corps to have its own charter so it can break free from fiscal and organizational limitations while carrying out its mandate. Among the bill's provisions, setting up Marine headquarters in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and its commandant will carry the rank of a three-star general. But speaking to CNN Philippines The Source, Defense Chief Delfin Lorenzana says he dismissed the proposal.
We oppose that because the Marine is basically a ground force. So kung gawin mo silang bottom service ng ground army, dalawa ang ground force natin.
In a statement, Lorenzana explains, and we quote, the Philippine Marine Corps claims they have particular skills like ship-to-shore operations. The Philippine Army could easily learn these skills.
Why learn it when there's already somebody there who is an expert?
The defense chief adds the Marine Corps was created as a striking force to run after pirates and smugglers and was, quote, envisioned as a small force only. In a text message, he insists military and defense leaders were kept out of the loop on the bill. But former Marine Commandant Juancho Saban says the proposal has been on the table for years now and was just ignored.
Oo naman, matagal na yan. Pero always sinashutdown ng Navy and the GHQ.
I understand the biases siyempre ni SND dahil Army man siya. Pero kailangan din nating pakinggan yung gustong mangyari ng Philippine Marine officers.
It remains to be seen how the bill will fare in both houses of Congress given the position of Secretary Lorenzana. This proposal comes in the wake of the Navy's frigate controversy, which was seen causing friction among defense and military leaders, putting to test their professionalism as an organization.
In the meantime, the Bureau of Customs has discovered 105 container vans from China illegally taken out of the port of Manila. Customs Commissioner Isidro La Peña says the container vans were released without his consent. Most of the containers have yet to be inspected, and La Peña is not discounting the possibility that they could contain drugs. The declared value of the shipment is 69 million pesos. An investigation is underway. The government, tourists, and locals all want one thing, to bring back the beauty of Boracay. But with the looming closure of the island, stakeholders say tens of thousands of people will lose their jobs. Now they want to sit down with the president for talks and point out rehabilitation can happen even without shutting the world-renowned island down. Cian Arcangel reports.
Boracay tourism stakeholders want to talk to President Rodrigo Duterte to appeal the planned island shutdown. Tourism Congress of the Philippines President Jojo Clemente says business owners are ready to help the government in cleaning up Boracay, but without closing down their businesses. He warns some 36,000 people may lose their jobs if Boracay is declared off limits. From January to September of 2017, Boracay posted 56 billion pesos in revenue.
Mr. President, if possible, we would really like to sit down with you just to present our side.
Clemente says they are still waiting for government-specific plans on Boracay, even after a dialogue with Tourism Secretary Juan Tateo earlier this week. He says they're still clueless whether it would be a total shutdown or partial closure of the island.
The actual timeline, as we were informed, was no later maybe than March 26, the President will declare a state of calamity for Boracay. And 30 days hence, they will implement the closure of Boracay. Now, what that closure means, we are not yet sure.
Last Tuesday, Duterte said he will support the recommendation of Interior Officer in Charge Eduardo Año on Boracay. The president said Año told him it might take about 6 months to rehabilitate the island.
Si Año, sabi niya sa Mayor, kagabi sabi niya, Boracay, he thinks will take a little bit longer. And I answered him, Sabi ko, General, nandiyan ka, I-appreciate that. Whatever is your decision, I will support you.
Should the government proceed with a total closure, Clemente is hoping this will happen in 2019 as foreign and local tourists have made bookings until the end of the year. For now, he says business establishments are willing to clean their areas and make sure others comply with environmental laws as well.
On the side of the tour operators, let us just finish our bookings 1 year forward. And then we can say we can stop selling already by tomorrow.
Stakeholders say they also want to revive Boracay's natural features, but they want to partner with government in doing this instead of just waiting for the shutdown to take its course. Cian Arcangel, CNN, Philippines.
An interagency task force for Boracay's rehabilitation is sending to President Rodrigo Duterte a recommendation to shut down the island on April 26. That's about a month from now. Speaking to CNN Philippines, Interior Assistant Secretary Epimaco Densing said the proposed closure could last for 6 months. Densing says they define closure as to not allow entry of local and foreign tourists into the island. He says establishments may remain open to participate in the rehabilitation.
We'll be sending a recommendation now to be signed by them, recommending a closure effective April 26 and with or without declaration of a state of calamity. And Governor Miraflores came over during the meeting and expressed concern about that closure. And he mentioned what has been done for the past few weeks, including what will happen in the next 4 weeks in the Boracay area. And that was considered. No? That's why we told him it's really imperative that the island be closed for purposes of fast-tracking the rehabilitation. With people going there, we cannot make the rehabilitation as fast as we want to. Otherwise, the rehabilitation program will reach at least a year.
Okay.
But if they will cooperate with us, with government, the stakeholders, we're even looking at opening the island even before the 6-month deadline.
April 26 is about a month and a few days from now. Why did you choose the date April 26?
Well, the first thing that we've looked at is the activities this summer. I think there's a Lay Boracay the week after the 27th to May 3. Part of what Governor Miraflores has committed to us is that he will also recommend the cancellation of Lay Boracay. Because at Lay Boracay, we're talking about 30 to 40,000 people at any given time on that island for 6 straight days. That will actually add up to the pollutants and the destruction or degradation of the water system in the area.
Densing tried to explain how hotels, resorts, and restaurants can remain open without customers by saying they could do repair or rehab work.
They will not operate for profit. Some of them will continue to open for purposes of renovation, rehabilitation. And the reason why we want it as fast as we can, because we're looking at the people who will be losing their jobs or losing their earnings. That's why we're coordinating with the other agencies, specifically DOLE, ESDA, DSWD, and the DTI to provide us the loan assistance.
On the looming construction of a casino on the island, Densing says they were only made aware of the project a few days ago. He adds there's no way the casino can be constructed during the island shutdown. He says they've ordered the local government not to issue building permits and also to stop constructions. The president earlier said he's inclined to approve whatever recommendation for Boracay will be made by the Interior Department. The family of University of Santo Tomas law student Atio Castillo is now a step closer to getting justice, more than 6 months after his death. That after a court in Manila ordered the arrest of 10 members of the Aegis Juris Fraternity. All of them were present during Atio's hazing riots in September last year. The suspects include Aegis President Arvin Balag and members Ralph Trangia, Oliver John Audrey Onofre, and Alex Hipe. 2 weeks ago, the Justice Department indicted the frat man for violation of the anti-hazing law, a non-bailable offense punishable with life imprisonment. Atio's death sparked public outrage that resulted in Congress approving bills that completely ban hazing as a requirement for admission into a fraternity, sorority, or organization. A number of groups and personalities trooped to the Supreme Court, urging justices to dismiss a petition that seeks to oust Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Two separate interventions have been filed opposing the quo warranto case, which questions Sereno's qualifications to hold office. The interveners say Congress has the sole power to remove the Chief Justice, and that is through impeachment. They warn if the quo warranto will be granted, it will open floodgates to similar petitions against impeachable officials.
Pinakamalinaw na panganib dito ay binabaliwala yung konstitusyon upang masunod ang kagustuhan ni Pangulong Duterte, no? At lalong mapagtitibay yung kanyang hangarin na mamuno bilang diktador.
Ang ating pinoprotektahan yung tinatawag na balance of powers, no? Saka checks and balance. Wala na pong balanse. Ang Kongreso, kung ano sabihin ng Malacanang, ay bow. Kaya Supreme Court dapat hindi po nagbabaw sa Malacanang.
Lawyers Group Integrated Bar of the Philippines will file a separate intervention. It says the Supreme Court cannot review, much less reverse, the President's decision in appointing the Chief Justice. In the end, the justices will decide if they will allow the interventions. Strong words from Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno about what she calls attacks against her and her office. The Chief Justice on leave spoke to students of the University of the Philippines in Diliman this afternoon. There, Sereno called on the public to focus on the Constitution and the democratic institutions and not on what she calls intrigues a la showbiz. Joyce Ilas reports.
Despite controversies hounding her, a number of students still warmly welcomed Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno here at the University of the Philippines. Sereno delivered a strong speech where she says the attacks against her person and her office were, quote, funded by formidable machinery. The chief magistrate also warned it will be dangerous for the rule of law and democratic institutions if the impeachment and resignation calls against her work. Let's listen to parts of her speech.
The stakes for the rule of law, if the evil machinators of the impeachment or the resignation scheme succeed, is that no one, not one man, especially not one woman, will be safe in this country. Everyone will have to look for a political patron to save herself from incessant harassment, threats, and bullying.
Sereno believes fake news, alternative facts, and vulgar language used to call persons, genders, and advocacies degrading names are tactics to divert attention from what is really happening in our democratic institutions and constitutional rights. She then calls on the people to focus on what is important and not on what she calls intrigues a la showbiz.
They are just sideshows. Instead, ask the real questions. Is there reason to this apparent madness? Fight for democracy. Fight for the rule of law. Fight for judicial independence.
The Chief Magistrate emphasizes that in fighting for our democracy, it should be done in a spirit of calm and not of anger. She also said that the public should be articulate, sincere, and truthful. Joyce Ila, CNN Philippines.
Senators are insisting parliamentary immunity for speeches delivered on the floor of the Senate must be upheld. On Wednesday, 19 out of 23 senators filed a resolution that states members of Congress may not be prosecuted for speeches or debates made in the exercise of their functions during sessions or committee hearings. It stressed only Congress can take disciplinary action against its own members. This happens a week after government prosecutors filed charges of inciting to sedition against Senator Antonio Trillanes over a privileged speech he delivered last year on the alleged undeclared wealth of President Duterte. Speaking to CNN Philippines, Trillanes insists there was nothing seditious in his speech. He revealed he posted a 12,000 peso bail bond for his temporary liberty. Trillanes also hit Senate President Coco Pimentel for his inaction on the issue. He says Pimentel should have questioned the prosecutor's decision.
Even if I said that outside the halls of the Senate, there's nothing seditious about that. It's a spin on what Duterte actually said. But these are the signs of the times right now, how they bend laws to their favor and try to keep on pushing the boundaries and of imagination regarding twisting the laws. And that's how it is right now under the Duterte administration. Under a stronger Senate leadership, a Senate President should have issued a show cause order to this prosecutor and questioned her wisdom why she forwarded this case despite the clear language of the Constitution. Because I'm one of the critics of this administration whom they are allied with. But if that's the case, then it's just unfair and it's unjust. So I hope that Senator Pimentel would start to man up and protect the institution that he represents.
Now, a reaction from the Senate President. Speaking to CNN Philippines, Pimentel says he will only entertain Trillanes' suggestion if he can cite a law that allows the Senate President to question the prosecutor's decision.
As far as I know, I cannot order prosecutors to explain to me their actions. So if he can cite the Constitution, a law, a treaty, or jurisprudence, and I am convinced of his ground, then I will entertain his suggestion.
But Senator, are senators and congressmen, do you have parliamentary immunity? You can say anything on the floor and not get sued for it.
Well, the Constitution says that whatever we say during speeches, session, or committee hearings, we should not be held to account for it in other venues. So we can be disciplined by our peers.